I'm getting a text from my husband. Hold on one second. Well, hey guys, long time no talk. I was not planning on vlogging today. Your girlfriend decided to just throw her hair up and not really do anything with it today because I kind of wanted it to just be a bit of a worky kind of day. It's just one of those days. I'm sitting here in my classroom. I am holding my big camera because my little vlogging camera is actually charging. Let's see if we can see it. There it is. That's the battery. I wanted to kind of go through my classroom today, and I thought I'd take you along with me. I want to do some tidying up. We should be technically closing out our school year next month, but we really got derailed after we lost Hart. If you're new to my channel, we lost our son at 20 weeks in October. And he should be here now. He should be a couple weeks old. Actually, he'd be about a month and a half old at this point, almost 2 months. And that loss just wrecked me. And for a long time, we were just in survival mode. And school really got put on the back burner. My kids turned 8 and 5 in December and January, so they're both young. Aubree's actually kind of more, she's a year ahead of where she should be, where she would be. She's a year ahead of kind of where she is age-wise. She's at a 3rd grade level, but she started at 7 years old with this work, and she's really strong academically. And with Colt, if he was in school, like, he would be in kindergarten, and he would, you know, be doing all the things that we do here. We're working on our letters and the sounds, and he knows his numbers and shapes and colors and things like that. Mostly we're working on his alphabet right now. He can say all of the letters, but we're working at recognition and the sounds that each letter makes. So I'm focusing mostly like reading with him and doing some games and things. We're not doing a whole lot of formal school with him because I've sort of changed my whole education philosophy, I guess, in learning more about how kids learn. And I don't know, we're playing more. I'm letting them play more. But at the same time, we need to get school done. There are things that need to happen. And we got really, really behind as we grieved and as we processed the loss of our son. It was a hard time for all of us, and it still is. But we need to get back on track, and we have been working quite diligently on that. So Aubree does teaching textbooks for math, and she's working really hard to get kind of caught up. And I think the plan will be is that she's roughly doing about 2 lessons a day. And I think that will continue through the summer. I don't want to put off any more of her learning. I found a bit that with the gap in time that it took from when we stopped to when we restarted, she had a little bit of a tough time jumping back in. And we're in a good groove now, and I don't want to squelch that. So I think that through the summer, we will continue to do her math. And I think she'll be fine with that. She does it fairly quickly, and then when she's done with it, she gets rewarded with time to play like a computer game, like an educational game on like TVO Kids, or they love to play ABC Mouse. So she gets kind of rewarded in that way. And then we're going to continue on with our language arts. That was the other big thing that really got pushed aside, but the thing that we restarted and are trying to do. Aubree is an incredible reader. She started a Ramona book. She's reading through the Ramona series. She started one last night before bed, and she finished it this morning, like later this morning. But she reads so much, and she's so quick at it, and she just can't get enough reading. So she's really proficient at reading. But there's a lot of other things that are wrapped into our Good and the Beautiful language arts, and we're working through level 2. So we're going to continue with that. And the hope is to do 1 to 2 lessons a day. And we'll continue through the summer. And that will kind of, I don't know if it'll necessarily catch us up, but we'll be wrapping up, I think, we'll be wrapping up our math and our language arts when we start school, when we quote unquote start school again. Once we start, I will go ahead and redo like our science. We'll jump back into science and history and things like that. We'll do more formal things, but for now it's just going to be the math, the language arts, and handwriting. That's the other thing, is handwriting. So yeah, that's where we're at. And all of that to say, that is where we are. And I want to kind of go through our homeschool room and just really refresh it. It's weird to think that we won't be touching some of this stuff for another like 4 months, but I'm just being realistic with where we are at right now, as far as our school is concerned. And I would like to refresh things, go through our resources, figure out what we have, because I need to get some things for next year. So especially for Colt, because he will definitely need a new, like, he's in pre-K now. He'll probably go to K. When it comes to the Good and the Beautiful, we'll start him on Math K for Good and the Beautiful. And eventually, once Aubree's done with her language arts book, we'll go on to the 3rd level. So I don't think I'll need any new science. I have several science resources from Good and the Beautiful units from last year that we didn't get to, and those are prepped and ready to go. But I think I want to get like a few kind of hands-on manipulatives and things to go with that. Like, we're going to do the human body and space. I know there's some really great resources out there to help make that learning come alive a bit more. So I am going to go through my bins and drawers and all the things. I'll take you with me. So behind me is our storage unit, and that's where we have all of our homeschool stuff as well as personal stuff. I've never gone through that whole cabinet system, but I'll show you guys it. I should do a whole video about it, but I'm not going to do that today. So let me just kind of share with you what's there. Okay, so I'm just sitting on the floor here. This is our Kallax unit, and it is 4 slots, I don't know, deep. On the bottom, we've got all kind of personal stuff. This is where I keep our like gifts to give people. This is books and binders and things of mine. I really ought to go through this and purge some stuff. And then these two are our personal files. So this is our door for extracurricular activities. So basically, we've got some building kits, we've got drawing kits. This is where our paints are, watercolors, things like that. So all of that is in here, and I'm going to go through it and work on that. So we've got this like health and nutrition book, and I'd really like to go through this as well. Is a little beyond where we were when I first got it, but I think definitely Aubree could go through that a bit now. Anyways, this is our extracurriculars. This started out as Tot School when we did this. Now it's more like kindergarten or Colt's drawer cupboard. So we've got like a binder or a folder here with all kinds of workbooks and things. He's got his Good and the Beautiful games in here. And in the bin, there's like manipulatives and matching games and all kinds of stuff for him. And I definitely need to go through that. Up here is math, and we new math thing. We haven't really needed to go through this because her teaching textbook stuff is online, and we love it so much that I don't think that we're going to go back to something else for her learning. But Colt will start out with Math K from Good and the Beautiful, and there's a lot of manipulatives. I can't even say that. Manipulatives. and it'll all need to go somewhere. So this is where it'll go, and I need to just kind of go through that, figure out what's going on with that binder and all that jazz. The next one is science, and this one is pretty heavily used. I'm missing some of our binders and things, but we've got, this is all the stuff that we were going to use this year. So we've got things for science and body and things like that. These are our units for the good and the beautiful. But yeah, that's what's in there. Here is our geography. And again, just some resources and things that I need to go through and make sure that we're using what we have and maybe take out anything that we're not. And last is our language arts. And this one's really quite full as well. We did all about reading and all about spelling our first year. We did a reason for handwriting. We did this amazing program that I absolutely love, Voyages in English. And I think we'll touch base on that a lot too. It's a lot of worksheets, but it really explains how to do things, and Aubree loved it. And we got some books in here. So yeah, so that's our language arts drawer. And over here is Aubree's, what do you call this thing? I can't even think of it. Container that holds little, what is this called? Oh my gosh, I'm totally drawing a blank. Workbox system. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay. So anyways, in these are all of this is her stuff that she does. Math, obviously there's nothing in there. History, science, and extracurricular. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go through all of this and again, just figure things out, clean things out. I feel like we're not done with our year, but at the same time, I know we're not going to go through all of this stuff, so may as well get it cleaned out. So this is Aubree's language arts folder. I've got these thank you notes in here for her so that she can learn to write thank you notes to people who give her gifts and just, that she wants to thank. We've got some of her, it's not vocabulary words. I'm drawing a blank again, y'all. Like, my mind is not working. But just some of her word work. I also made her this sheet of her daily checklist, and I just printed this up on PowerPoint and then laminated it, and then she uses a dry erase marker to check off her checklist for the day. So this is the requirements for the good and the beautiful that she needs to do every day: reading her reader, practicing her spelling, phonics cards, sight word ladders, that's what that thing was, working in her course book, and poetry memorization and thank you notes. So she can go through this. You can kind of see some of the dry erase marker there. So she can go through that, and I can just tell her, go through your checklist, and I can work with Colt. Of course, we do the course book together. So then I went ahead and for all of her spelling, I went through and I wrote down all the words for her so that she would have one of these little note cards that she could work on her spelling words with. Yeah, I did that at the beginning of the year. So I'm pulling those things out, and also her phonics cards. And she had the course companion in her book because there are, when you do certain things, you can color these like seashells. Once she did her sight word ladders, which are these things, and she has to be able to say all of these perfectly, and she's so good at it that she does. But anyways, so I should have just printed out a page of this and had her color it, but I just have let her kind of do that here in a course book. But I'm going to pull this out because I kind of want to work through this, kind of look through it. It's been a while since I have. Like I said, we really, really, really got derailed I've also got her handwriting book in here. I'm going to put her checklist on top. And then this is her reader. She loves this reader. She is almost done with this, and she would be done with it if I didn't pace her. But she's got a reader. And then this is her book of stories and writing. I made the cover, and then I let her paint whatever she wanted on here. She was trying to do a self-portrait. I don't know. I might just stick this in our language arts cupboard because it's kind of full in here. And that is kind of it for her language arts. And I will go ahead and keep all of this together so that we can work on it throughout the summer. So this is her science bin, and I've got this notebook. I'm not going to show you inside of it because inside of here I've got a sheet, a couple sheets actually, with our address and phone number and just personal information that I wanted her to memorize. And in this binder she's got a folder and paper and different things like that just are really specific sort of to her, but it doesn't belong in her science bin, so I am pulling that out. We had been working on the arthropods unit, and we were really enjoying it. I made this cover in, PowerPoint, and this was going to be her science journal. And what we were going to do with this is that I have more cover sheets for the different units, and I was just going to change out the cover because you need a binder for each science unit. So she's got kind of all of her... We've got some of this like blank paper in here because she needed to draw some things, and having that blank paper was really nice. We just got this at Walmart, and I've got a tabbed divider in here for just regular lined paper as well. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know what I'm going to do, if I'm going to pull this out yet or what. We'll start our next year probably with arthropods to finish it up. Who knows? We might even finish it this summer simply because bugs and summer kind of go hand in hand. I never wanted to be like a year-round homeschooler, but just because we got so off track last year, I feel like we need to really kind of work through the summer to get caught up. And it's fun stuff, and it's not going to be overly taxing. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I think for now I'll just leave it. So I wanted to share with you this resource. This is something that I got from the Dollar Tree, and Colt loves these, y'all. Like, he considers this his school. Like, he loves them. So what they are these books, and they go through different people in the Bible. There's also Jesus and who else was there? Jonah. I can't remember. Oh, here they all are. There's everybody. Noah, Moses, Jonah, David, Joseph, and Jesus. And what it is a workbook that walks your child through the story. But there's also stickers, and that's what Colt really likes to do. So I can go ahead and explain, like read everything to him, and then he can put the stickers on the different activities. And there are activities too that you can do. Some of them are a little bit farther along than he is, and I just let Aubree do those. One thing I would suggest though is when you do this to actually cut out each section of stickers, because like for instance, if you're on page 2 and you're trying to get, you know, some of these stickers off, you just have to flip like back and forth with these from like, you know, page 2 to the sticker sheet, page 2 to the sticker sheet. So I just cut them, and that makes it easier. But these are great because he's learning like how to go through mazes, and this is really great for its color recognition and this number recognition. And so he does like all of these, and he loves it. And at the same time, he's learning Bible stories. So we've got these 3 left to do, and we went through the other 3 already. But again, he loves these. These were at the Dollar Tree. So this is my extracurricular binder, and in here I have got just a sheet for American Sign Language, and then I made these sheets for part of my planner, and I've got some quotes in here. Play is really the work of childhood, Mr. Rogers. Every child is born blessed with a vivid imagination, but just as muscles grow flabby with disuse, so the bright imagination of a child pales in later years if he ceases to exercise it. Walt Disney. Isn't that great? And I had just kind of put down some resources for our art and creativity, and just some lesson ideas from Deep Space Sparkle, which is a resource that I found that I absolutely loved for art activities. But guys, if I'm honest, we didn't do any of them. We just, after October, our entire world fell apart, and it was really just surviving. So this is our art binder. And I made this cover as well. It's one of my favorites. And I went through Deep Space Sparkle and I printed out all these activities that I thought would be so great. This is a toolkit with all kinds of different information in it, and I just have that stapled and put in here. We were really going to do art big this year. Like, I was really, really excited about it. But again, everything fell apart. So I think I want to focus on that this upcoming year. My children both love art so much. And they love to create. And I'd love to incorporate more of this kind of stuff. Painting and drawing and, just all these things. So all of this was for free, and all I had to do was print it and put it in my binder. So I'm just kind of going through all our resources here, going through things, being inspired, seeing what we have, and thinking about what we can use for next year. Okay, so I went through and tidied up everything. Funny enough, I thought to myself I was going to need to get more paintbrushes, because I didn't think that we had very many, except we do. I had 2 unopened packs, and I decided to just go ahead and stick them in this little bucket that was actually already in the cupboard. I went through this bin and I reorganized it. I've got some glue sticks in here. I put the little woodworking cars back here. These are all paints. I don't know. I just kind of organized everything nicely in the bin. And then this is our watercolor paper. I would like to get some more like all-purpose paper, but this is just watercolor specific. And this is our Deep Space Sparkle book with all of our art project ideas. The extracurricular binder, I did change up a couple things in here. I just added some more resources that I had printed off. So that stayed the same. These are our flashcards for sign language. I definitely want to get into this next year. If you have any resources for sign language, I would love it if you would point me in that direction. I know there is, baby signing time, but they also have regular signing time. It's expensive. I've looked into it before. Maybe something has changed. If you know, please let me know. But I would love to find some sort of free or very inexpensive system that would help us with our sign language. I know some I know most of this finger spelling, but I would like to learn more words so that my kids can be able to communicate with people with hearing impairments. So then I tucked in some resources. These are from the Littles and Me blog, and she did a Fruit of the Spirit project last year. And I've printed, I think, most of the resources that she had. I'll have to go back through and see if I've printed everything. But I decided to put them in here. We were going to go through this last year and work on the Fruits of the Spirit, but we didn't. It's sad to me, all of the things that we had planned to do that we didn't get done. But last year was just such a year of pain and healing, and I'm just giving myself a lot of grace. And then this was something from Pam Barnhill. It was morning plan activities for Advent. So I don't know if we'll go through that fully. It was a little bit more than we like to do in our homeschool, but it is a good jumping off point. And then that was basically everything. Oh, and then I have this Kids of Integrity thing. This is all from Focus on the Family. It's all free. They go through all kinds of different attributes, and there's so much information to teach your kids on these different concepts. Stories and questions and verses and activities and ideas. And so I printed those out to work on those with my kiddos as well. So and then I've got some art books. So we've got, well, this is that health one again. This Draw, Paint, Create. And I've got just this adult coloring book for Aubree. I don't know if she's really interested in this sort of thing, but I do have it for maybe a later year when she is interested. And then this was just a free resource that we have. So anyways, that is a look at the updated extracurriculars. Okay, so now I'm just looking at Colt Spin. These are all of his activities for the Good and the Beautiful pre-K, and I cut all of them out, laminated them, and put them in these poly envelopes. And I think the poly envelopes just came from the Dollar Tree, but these are in his cupboard. And then I'm going to go through this right here and look at all the resources that we have. I think some of these things are a little bit beyond where he is right now, but I'm going to go through and see what we've got. So this is one resource that I really love and that we can be working on as he works with his letter recognition. This is from ABCs to ACTs, and these were all free. And I just printed them and laminated them. You spot the dot, use a bingo marker to dot the letter C's. Now, I do have a bingo marker for him. However, with these, we just use dry erase markers, and then he can erase, and we can do that. He actually really enjoyed doing some of these, but we've got a lot further on our letters, so I'm going to go ahead and pull some of those out, and this will be a fun activity for him to do. I've also got this Highlights preschool activity book. I think we got this at Costco, and I think I'm going to go through it and find some pages for him to do. He can do several of these things. Some of it is a little bit further than where he is, but I think a lot of this he can do, and especially after we've gone through a lot of the letters that he knows, this will help him with that. So I forgot about a lot of this stuff. This is just part of, oh my gosh, like I'm just trying to give myself grace because last year was just so hard, and even moving into this year, it's just hard, and I feel like in some ways I just want to blame myself because we got so behind, but at the same time I was dealing with trauma, and my kids were too, and we're just really doing the best that we can, and they're little and they're young, and we've got plenty of time to learn all the stuff that we need to learn. So this little bin has a few a few manipulatives for Colt. I've got 2 packs of these. So these are numbers and shapes, and these were from the Target Dollar Spot, and those are really great for him for recognition. I've also got these little containers, and they hold different pieces to different little games that we've got going. I printed more of these out. I think these were also from that ABC to ACT site, and he can do his numbers and do the counting and kind of either point or circle how many are, on that little thing. We've got more game pieces here. These are just some plastic baggies, some flashcards, and then I've got a few more games as well. These are just like you match the capital letter to the lowercase letter, and then he's working on these as well, if I can get them up. These are just matching, so they have like the capital letter and then the lowercase letter, and you match them up. So he's working on the ones that he's mastered already. Well, not quite mastered, but is working on mastering, and this is just another way to help him recognize. And again, I just printed all of those for free and then laminated them and cut them out. And then to help him with some of his fine motor skills, I printed some of these. Again, I think it's from that website, ABC to ACT. I printed these, I laminated them, and then I punched out, and then I just took some yarn and I taped the one end, and this is really good in helping him learn you know, some of these like sewing skills basically, and he loves doing these, so these are kind of fun and they were free. Okay, so I'm going through our math cupboard, and like I mentioned, we don't really use it that much, but I did go through these curriculum books. The number one is way too young for Aubree, but there are some things in this level too, even though she is in 3rd grade. These are they've got a lot of advanced learning in them, so there are things definitely that she could work through there. I pulled out this binder that was in there because I wasn't sure what I had in it, and inside I actually have these sheets. I think these are from the Moffat girls. I subscribe to them, and they send out free resources every month, and they're really good. You can pay for this stuff as well. They have lots and lots of worksheets for learning on Teachers Pay Teachers. And so these are some of the free things. And Aubree's just now getting into multiplication, so we can work on some of these things. I'm going to go through this, like she's... Oh, that's just my husband if you hear. She's kind of gone through some of this stuff already, but I think that it's always even good just to go back through and, you know, refresh. We kind of work through our math facts and refresh anyways, just to keep those things fresh in her mind. I fell through the cracks with math, and I don't want her to do that. So it's important to me that we continue to go over the facts so that she knows them inside and out, and it just will continue to help her with her math. And then these were... I don't even know where these were from, but these are like 3D shapes, paperwork things, and I laminated them, and I don't know when we'll use these, but I'm sure they'll come along sometime in our learning. So I'm just going to leave these in the folder. I don't really need this binder, so I am going to pull the binder out and just stick the folder back in my bin here. I keep calling it a bin, but it's not a bin, it's a cupboard. But I'll probably just keep this folder in here for all these printed pages and stuff, because I may have some still in my inbox that I want to get printed and set up. I find that having some of these worksheets and different things just really helps them with not getting bored doing the same thing. So that's why I like to have a lot of this stuff. And funny, in going through my math resources, I found these, which are clearly not math. And that's just the thing about going through all your resources. You find things that are tucked away. Aubree had actually been looking for this notebook, and she couldn't, or this binder, and she couldn't find it. And I was like, it was in your history stuff. So that's a good thing to do, just kind of go through and refresh. I'll go ahead and stick these in with language arts. Not language arts. I'll stick this in with Colt stuff because he's working on his alphabet. And this is from Bitty Beginnings. So I actually was like a brand rep for them for a while, so I got lots of fun resources to work with, and this will be perfect for Colt. So here's the science cupboard, and I've got, we are actually working through the science safety with Good and the Beautiful. I made this cover, and I actually just printed the whole unit rather than purchasing it from them. It's a small unit, so it was all good. And then I have these safety books. These I got from the library. They're very, very young, but my kids really like to read them along with our unit. So I've just got them in here. I don't normally do that with library books, but there are so many of them that I decided it would be okay just to put them with the science unit. And the ones that we've gone through, I just have kind of sitting right here. Some already went back to the library, but it's just something reinforcing that safety sort of unit. Okay, so now I'm working on our geography and our history cupboard. I went and pulled out a lot of our resources. I actually love this cupboard. I'm not necessarily one that loves history or geography, but we've got just some really fun things, I think, that, I don't know, that make learning fun. I've got this world puzzle here. This is my geography binder, and we've got like a map of the United States here. This was just from the Dollar Tree. We don't have a lot of space in our homeschool to put this up, and we would likely probably put a Canadian map up if we did, just because we do live in Canada. I am American, if you are new to my channel, so it is really important to me that we know the United States history and geography as well as Canadian. Along with, you know, the world and all that jazz. But it's important to me that we kind of learn dual kind of at the same time, or, you know, just in general. So I've got notebook paper here. I purchased this resource from Crafty Classroom, I think it was, and it's the US state by state. And this, I think, was a free thing. I'm not really sure. But she has all these printables for each of the states. And one thing that I did is I wrote to as many states as I could and got visitor packets. And I also did this for Canada as well. And when we would learn about a new province or a state, we would open up the visitor packet and go through all the information. That was so fun, because so many of these states and provinces put so much good information and resources in their visitor packets. It was really, really quite nice. So we've kind of held off a bit with some of our knowledge, learning about the provinces and the states. We'll visit that at another point. This year we worked mostly on history. Our first year we worked more on geography. This upcoming year we'll do history, and I'll incorporate geography more. This is just some of our history stuff from The Good and the Beautiful, printed and packed in here. So, I think, oh, and then I've got, this is actually just a catalog. It goes up to 2020 actually. So, this is full of like Canadian resources, and I think there's some world resources in there too. But yeah, there's just so much good stuff that's, I don't know, it just makes learning so fun. We are doing year 1 of history with The Good and the Beautiful. I love it. This is just, it's so open and go and wonderful. And it comes with like audio stories, which is really nice. If you like Adventures in Odyssey, I think that you would love this history. They have this that comes with it, the Big Book of History Stories, and it's beautiful. Like, it's so beautiful. That is the one thing about this education, is it really is beautiful. Yeah, it's just really good. So we've got that, and then it also kind of, there's a game that you can get with it, and there's books and things. So I've got all of that up there, but I'm just going to go through the rest of our resources. Our first year we did a lot of geography, and we just worked right through this workbook, and that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of mapping and things, but it helped Aubree learn, you know, how to read a map, the direction, like cardinal directions and things like that. So that was fun to work through. Aubree was really into Queen Elizabeth for a while there, and this was a Time magazine, and because the monarchy is important to Canada, I thought this would be great to have. We also worked through Canada, My Country. I didn't fully go through all of this, but this is a good book if you are Canadian, or want to learn more about Canada. This is great for young kids to help them understand. And then we've got another map skills book. And then this was from my mother-in-law. I think I'm going to go through this. It was really about how to make geography kind of come alive for kids. I think I'm going to go through that. She had some really good resources from when she homeschooled my husband and stuff. And then this folder has, so here's like some of those. Oh, I hope you can't see my address now. Here are some of the guides. We went through none of it. I think this is none of it here. Yeah, and let's see. You could just, like, there's maps and the animals that they have there, and just all kinds of really neat information. And this, seriously, like, we watched a documentary the other night at my in-laws on Easter, and it was one of those Blue Planet or Planet Earth kind of things, and we knew all this information about whales and narwhals, which are whales, and what else was on there? Polar bears and things, walruses, all the stuff that we had learned like our first year of homeschooling. And yeah, I don't know, it was just fun. So yeah, here's another Nunavut one. It was really fun to open these up and go through and explore different provinces and things via these guides. So that blue bin up there next to the black and white Scentsy warmer, that is where I have the rest of our tourist guides. That's where those all live, way up there. And then I'm kind of covering this a bit here, but this is a map of our city. And I wanted to have that so that we could better explore our city as we learned mapping and different things like that. So definitely, if you're looking at mapping sort of things, check out maps of your own city. No, I should have. Ted didn't try to